I've always, how can I say, I can't say I've always known. I just known as far back as I can remember, let's say 4 or 5 years old, having crushes on boys in my class, and I learned that it's something that I should keep to myself. And I kept it to myself. I mean, for nobody ever found out. Nobody knew. I did not say it to anyone. And it was very scary for me to think that someone could find out.
It used to be a time when youth would come in and they were dealing with their sexuality, and their first concern, their number one concern was, you're not going to tell my parents. Please don't tell my parents. And that would be, never would be something that we would do, but we also never created an environment here where we allowed youth to believe that not being honest with their parents was the best thing to do. Because we know that once children are out of the house, it's harder to have the type of communication that it is when they're in the house. And that's not for every circumstance.
And not being around a lot of gay people growing up, I didn't really have another example of how gay people are able to live in life, you know, except for knowing that it's not accepted in the society, you know, and they feel that it's wrong or whatever.
For a lot of these youth that are intentionally dividing themselves for their family, to be able to come in every day and to see people who are working, that are professionals, that are openly gay, to see the elected officials and the organization leaders and the notables in your community coming into the center, to see Barney Frank visit and take pictures with the youth or talk to the youth, like Elaine Noble did, where she sits down and has a conversation. It gives them the courage and the strength to turn back to their families and say, guess who I met? Guess why? This is you know, who I am.
At 11 years old, I was actually diagnosed with cancer, and because of that, I wasn't able to go to school or anything like that. And after my father passing away, I had to start moving forward in my life. And a big part of that was to start, how can I say, being the person that I am. So I came out to my mother. I had to sit her down and make her guess, because I was just so afraid of actually telling her. It wasn't a problem for her, but it was a problem for me. I mean, for the first couple months, I could not say I'm gay. I could not bring myself to admit it.
And we have now seen a complete reversal. Now we'll see parents come into the center first and say, I think my son or daughter might be gay. I'm not sure about whether or not I'm doing this the right way. I want her or him to know that I love her unconditionally. I want to, you know, where's the manual? How is it that I make sure that as a parent, I do this the right way? And that is beautiful. That is and those are some of the resources that we've been able to be privileged to be funded by the Children's Services Council to provide a mental health therapist or provide someone to lead a support group that can actually help parents get through, you know, that unique challenge.
My mom asked a friend of hers who was gay about it, and, you know, where's the best place for me to go? And the first thing out of his mouth was go to Compass. So I called Compass and I told them the reason that I'm calling them, and they put on the youth director at the time, and she just, you know, she was a very nice woman, and she just said, you know, come by whenever you have a chance. We meet Wednesdays and Saturdays from 4 to 6. Stop by whenever you feel like. So a couple of weeks went by, I still didn't go. I was still a little too nervous.
Interestingly enough, I have a very similar scenario. I had a youth reach out to me about 5 or 6 years ago, and he could only email. And for about a year, I was corresponding with him through email, trying to get him to come into the safe space, which is Compass. He would drive by the building, but wouldn't stop and come into the building. You know, so I let him do kind of his incremental sort of baby steps that he needed to do that felt comfortable for him, and the whole while he was building up his confidence to do it. And now we have him as a volunteer, as a group member, and he's less isolated when he comes here.
But finally, I made the decision to go. And when I went there, I just remember going to the community center by myself. I was nervous. I asked the man at the front desk, where's the youth group? And he just pointed to the room in the back. I went there, and there was just 3 kids sitting on the floor watching a movie. And I remember sitting in the back looking at them, not the movie, and thinking, oh my God, they're my age. they're laughing, you know, they're out, they're making gay jokes and stuff like that, and it's okay. You know, nobody's has any problem with it, nobody's making fun of them or anything, so it's okay. I mean, it was the first time I was around anyone my age that was out. So Compass, from that point, I would go twice a week, 3 times a week. I would speak, everybody there was so friendly.
I have been so blessed with the kids that have come through this program. I've seen them grow up and develop into who they are from the time they were 15 or 16 years old. And they've been just as wonderful for me as much as they did the work. I think people like to say that it's because of my therapist, but the individuals always do their work.
There's no question in my mind, without Compass, I would not be the person that I am today. I would not have had the success in fighting my illnesses, in getting over. One thing about cancer is, if you're depressed, it's going to affect your treatment. If you're down, if you're stressed, it's going to affect your treatment. I met Compass after my radiation and things like that, but just being able to recuperate and things like that, Compass, without a doubt, has helped me and shown me how, has given me the opportunity to get through the things that I needed to so I can focus on getting better. If you allow it to, your life can be so good once you get through it. You're gonna have to get through it, and there's no magic in the world that'll make it completely painless, but it gets so good afterwards. So wonderful.
Is there a moment in this video to ask people to give a donation to Compass?
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Part of the reason that people give to Compass is because through the years, and I hope I say this modestly, there's been a healthy return on investment.
There's just so much there that they do for everybody, and they don't ask for anything in return except for, you know, donations, which they need to actually sit there and survive.
I give money to Compass, and they need it.
I can't think of anyone in this community that cannot benefit from Compass, and if you donate or if you contribute to Compass, you're going to be contributing to this community.
Just trying to identify my own reason why I continually volunteer for Compass is...
It doesn't have a choice.
Well, that's the point. I mean, I don't think that people see it as a contribution.
Right.
It's just, this is what you got to do
Right.
if you want to have a certain community in Palm Beach County.
Yeah, American Express, get some points.